Good morning, Renny Doyle Podcast. Chris, what's going on?
Yeah, we're back. We haven't. Let's see. I'm going to get everybody positioned good here.
Yeah.
We haven't been on for about 2 weeks lately. We missed last week.
Yeah, we had. It was
Wow.
We had kind of a crazy week though. You know,
we were a little busy. We're still a little busy.
Yeah, a lot busy. So good morning, Arthur. How are you?
Good, sir. How about yourself?
Pretty dang good. So we're going to stick with us for a second. We're going to talk about some business,
Yes,
and then
sir.
we're going to introduce you, and then we're going to get into it. So I'm really excited about this one because, meeting you, we're down at Mark Elliott's was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Walked away going, wow, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we'll get into that here in a second. But so Chris, we've had busy couple weeks. We've got a busy 3 weeks ahead of us, right, Chris? I mean, the next 3 weeks are going to be nuts.
I mean, I kind of look at it more like the next 3 months, but yeah. It's the next 3 weeks are busy. You're doing some fun stuff. You're doing some military stuff. We've got more trainings coming up. You're going to wax stock. I'm going to Boise for a little bit.
Oh wow.
Taking the family up to Idaho.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys driving up then?
No, we're all flying.
Oh, good for you.
Taking my kids on an airplane for the first time.
Oh wow.
For real?
They're gonna be nervous like Dad is.
Maybe, but they agreed to do it. I went to them first and I said, all right, I'm about to buy these tickets. You're either gonna, you got to tell me now if you're not gonna get on the airplane.
Yeah.
You got to screw with your son a little bit. What you do is you look at him, you go, okay, son, everything's good to go. We're gonna do a countdown. 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. If we get to 0, 7, we're in trouble. If we're off the ground, watch those white knuckles grab a hold of that seat a little bit. So
I think he'll do all right.
Yeah. So last week we were a little worried. Diane smashed her hand. Turned out it was just soft tissue injury, but it was one of those things. So she's in a brace now. And then we actually Diane and I had our first extended drill together ever. We've never been in the same unit. We are right now. And it's kind of a first. We're kind of coming in with the Cal Guard with the mounted unit, and it's not a new unit, but it's newly expanded. And so I always talk about, it's kind of ironic that Aaron's on. I talk about people, whether I don't care what age you are, of trying new things. And so I hadn't ridden a horse in 28 years. That's me on the right. That's not my horse. That was an LA good friend of mine. That's one of his horses. He just retired out from LA County Sheriff's, and that's one of his duty horses. So he's got two, but we decided not to bring ours up because Diane had a little injury, and I didn't want to take a chance on injuring her. But that was on Saturday. It was hotter than hell, especially with all the equipment on. But we really proved ourselves to the military department of the usefulness. It was pretty cool to be, we do a lot of searching and a lot of we look for shit, and to look for shit on the ground versus looking for stuff on a horse. Holy crap! I should have got on the horse thing a long time ago. They do a lot of the work, but I'll tell you, after 2 hours in the saddle on various terrain, my booty felt a little interesting. It wasn't my saddle. It wasn't my horse, but this horse, Trike was his name. Man, you just pointed. This guy knew what he'd been in law enforcement for most of his career. And my buddy Pedro, holy crap, this horse just knew what he was doing, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
So can you see the clues and the evidence you're looking for a little better from on top of the horse? Is that
put it this way? The ground crews picked up about 45% of the evidence, and the horse crews picked up about 80%.
That's insane.
Huh.
Yeah. And so, the vantage point, I've worked with the horses a lot, but to be, a full-time rider now and see it from that perspective is even tracking. We're doing some tracking with the horses, and it's just amazing, to be able to take and see what, especially at night, how clearly, if you know what you're doing. And so we're really going to start. I'm going to start. Matter of fact, I'm going to take my horse out this afternoon. I'm just going to start tracking people. I'm going to send what we call rabbits out, and Rip and I are just going to track. And pretty amazing the value of it and what it was, and it was pretty cool. So good weekend. Last night we did something really cool. If you guys don't know what DISC is, that we're putting the leadership of the Detail Mafia, the board, the advisory board, and Chris and I through DISC.
It's like an assessment.
Yeah, and DISC assessment on each person. And then Jody, our buddy from Road FS, he's the trainer for that. Amazing guy. And Jody went through, and he's teaching us how to interact and get the most power out of each other based off of our personalities. And I want to tell you, I mean, it's not 100%, but it's 80% accurate to. I mean, in general, if you generalize a DISC assessment, it nails you pretty good.
I was going to say, I think it's more than 80%.
It's pretty good.
I think those last few percentage are just probably the stuff we really don't want to admit it's more accurate than it's not.
I'd agree. Or the things that you want to change, or not really change, but the things that you want to learn how to adjust to, So if you haven't done a DISC assessment, highly recommend it. I've done it back in the day, but it wasn't, I don't know, this is a lot more clarity, and using it towards business and a big group like ours on how to manage people. So I don't care if you've got one, even for yourself, because what it will do is teach you how to deal with different personalities, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but it was interesting. We measured us. We're kind of like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Dead opposite, you and I. Yeah, dead opposite. But again, I think that brings balance. We just got to learn to, I walked away going, okay, this is how Chris, this is what makes him tick, and this is what drives him nuts, and this is what concerns him, and this is what motivates him. And so if you're really if you want to get, yourself, or you should, there's no surprises in that about me, for myself. I'm not concerned about myself. I was concerned about learning how to work with the other people and looking at their assessment so I can take and engage with them at a more meaningful level. So it was great hearing about myself. Not that I don't care, I do, but I want to learn how to take and get to make every effort that we make with other people, which is, Aaron, our guest today, is young. Everything that you do is relationship based in business, in life. And so if you can learn how to take and work with those other personality types, that's what counts. Pretty cool. Hey, Chris, do you want to do the introduction of this young man real quick?
I sure will. So today's guest, you're staring right at him, but here, hold on. I'm a little behind. I have a few notes and I don't have them up. But anyway, today's guest is Arthur Mahn, and I pronounced that right, didn't I, Arthur?
It's Arthur Mahn.
Mahn. Oh, there we go. See, I pronounced it wrong.
That's why my teachers call me Mr. Mann.
Well, okay. I'm sure I'm sure I'm not the only one, huh? So here's what's cool about Arthur. We met him a couple of months ago. He was 14. He's aged a lot since then. He's now 15 years old. He had a birthday recently, but it's pretty cool. Arthur is an entrepreneur and a detailer, like most of us. So, we met him. We just know a little bit about him. We're going to learn more, but his passions are running a business and detailing boats. He actually specializes a little bit more in boats than cars, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
And, he learned his skills working alongside his dad, Phillip, who is a boat builder. And his company name is A&M Detailing out there in the Jacksonville, Florida area. And like Renny said, he's proof that your age doesn't define who you are in business, that you are the one who defines who you are. So it's going to be pretty cool to get to know Arthur right now and get a perspective from one of the youngest faces in the industry.
This is such an honor, and I'm gonna take and jump into something. When I met Arthur when we met Arthur, because Chris is, down there with us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I think it was Mark Elliott came up and he said, "Hey, I got to introduce you to somebody." And, Arthur, we talked, and, I got my start on my bicycle. So I know you did a video, with your bike, and it's a replica of my bike. Unfortunately, the real bike got stolen when I was, as a matter of fact, I was your age when it got stolen. But, I got my start on a bike, and rolling around and doing it. And so just listening to this young man and talking with him is that immediately I could see a lot in him and a lot that he's the future of entrepreneurship, not just detailing, because honestly, I think he's going to take it such amazing different directions that it's going to be a fun show to watch, as this young man matures. But he's pretty mature already. I mean, it's hard to believe when I was standing across from him that I was sitting there looking at a 14-year-old, teenager, because he conducts himself in such a way. So I want to get into that because, first off, happy birthday. When was your birthday?
March 31st.
Oh, cool. So not too long ago. There you go. Happy birthday. That's pretty cool.
You,
okay, so I got to ask you before we even jump in.
Yeah.
So 16th birthday is around the corner. Rowdy car, the car that you think you're gonna really want, and then if you could go out and just buy a car, at 16, what would those cars be?
So what I really want for my first car that actually fits the price range that I'm looking for is probably a Ford F-150, just a truck. And then I guess you could say for a dream car, if I had all the money in the world, probably a Ferrari F40.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. You would need all the money in the
you would.
But still.
That's cool. So not a new Ferrari, an F40.
I love that F40s.
Tells you a little bit about something about this young man right there. Okay, now the next one, and I think I know the answer to this. Why an F-150?
Because boats, honestly, and trailering and stuff like that for my dad's boats, stuff like that.
I dig it. I knew it was going to be related back to that. That's pretty cool. You keep with that. So, hey, I want to share real quick before we get into the questions. This three-man has three standards. Three standards that right away stood out, and I think you're going to be able to see it already. If you don't, you will by the end of this conversation. He's very respectful. And a lot of people say, "Oh, this generation." No, I don't dig that, man. I meet so many wonderful young people, but he takes it to another level. Okay, he's a 5%er, if that, maybe a 1%er. He's buildable. What's buildable mean? It means he's trainable, and you're able to mentor him, and he accepts it, and he talks, and he listens. And I think he listens, and I'd love to talk to your parents about this, but I think he listens more than he speaks.
Yeah.
Is that you can see him, and when he addresses you, yes sir, no sir, things like that. It's not necessary. That's in his DNA, of how he's conducting himself, and probably some good beatings from your dad and mom.
Yeah, my parents would be happy hearing about that. They're both watching right now. So.
Right. And so,
beatings.
He hit me. The second I met him, I was just blown away at how this young 14-year-old is conducting himself like a 40-year-old, but yet he's still young. Look at he's got charm. The only thing we have to instill in this young man, and it's your parents, it's your family, it's your friends, but it's also your industry, and it's also entrepreneurs, is we just got to lay down some wisdom for you, and then it's your job to follow that wisdom. And immediately upon meeting you within the hour, I could see you absorbing wisdom from people that were around us. And I was just like, oh man, this kid's so cool. And he's just got his pace. He's got his pace in order, man. He's doing it. He's making this happen. And so why is this kid? Some people are going to ask, why is this 15-year-old kid on here? It's because he's the future of entrepreneurship. He's the now. We've got to have youth to keep us fresh, man. And this young man's making it happen. And so now that I've swelled your head, and sorry, mom and dad, I don't know if it's going to be out that door, but you know what? It is. I was so proud of you, and I'm sure your parents are too, that you are such a breath of fresh air, in your generation. And I think it's every generation. I'm not buying in. I mean, you're that age. Do you think your generation's that bad, or do you see some friends that have got it together?
I mean, there's bad in everywhere, honestly. So that's unfair to say that one generation's worse than the other.
There's the wisdom. See it? I mean, look at them already. So hey, so I related to this because I started at such a young age too, and I started towing it around on a bicycle. And so, there's a lot of me that looks at you and just goes, "Hey, don't do what I did. Don't follow the exact path. Take the easier path." And I know something that you said to me is that resonated was your parents seemed really important to you. Is that when I was talking to you, is that you could feel it coming out of you, that they were important to you. So let's talk about that a little bit and just what's really been a role model for you.
Probably just seeing my dad starting front runner. It was back in 2018, put me in the shop, get me to work. Without him, honestly, I'd probably be in bed right now, watching YouTube or something. He really got me up on my feet to start working. Put me up with a buffer in my hand when I was 10 or 11. We're transforming the shop and just all of that. So he's a big inspiration to my mom also. She's a stay-at-home mom, but she's still a big part of this family, and she really holds us together, and she's a big part of my heart.
Well, that's the hardest job of all. I don't care what.
Yes,
So watching your parents, your mom, what an honor too, to have for your mom and dad. There's a big price they pay. And again, I always felt talking to you for that short time that you kind of knew that, that you knew that you had something, and the people around you. So you told me, when did you officially start your business?
I got it's kind of complicated, I guess. So in 8th grade, at the end of the year, we had a couple of my dad's boats in the neighborhood, and I'm I want to clean them. I just want to make sure they get cleaned up. I don't want them getting bad some other boats that sit outside all day for a year. And so I was just texting them on Facebook and can I clean your boat? My dad built your boat. I'm just trying to do something. And I was cleaning them. I was going to clean them for free just to help out. And they started paying me. I'm oh, this is actually pretty fun. I kind of like it. And then my brother, Malachi, that owns a business with me, 9th grade year, we decided we got good at it. We were seeing a lot of potential in just cleaning my dad's boats. And we're why don't we just make it a business and just get this thing rolling?
God, how cool is that? And so how, okay, so I got to ask you a question. You got to kind of play this careful because Dad's on the line. How cool is your dad's boats? Are they pretty cool?
The best.
Are they really?
Yes, sir.
And so you guys, 9th grade, you start rolling out and you decide, okay, so similar story, and I'm going to relate this back, is that I got into it, not with cars too. I got into it with airplanes. And it was the same way. I just wanted to be around airplanes. So I was man, I'll come out and I'll clean these airplanes for free. I don't, So
exactly.
They're teaching me to fly, right, in exchange for it. And then they're hey, man, you're doing such a good job. You can't do this for free. And so I remember the first time. Now, this is a long time ago. This is if you know your history, the Wright brothers. This is going back.
Yeah.
It's $20. I remember getting my first $20 bill. That was a big deal. How I grew up, where I grew up. And then I remember seeing my first $100 bill I ever saw in my life was one I earned.
That's awesome.
And wasn't it a sense of do you get pride out of doing this when you take a boat and you kind of turn it around when it's a little dirty and you turn it around? What's it you feel like when you turn around and you look at it when you're done?
It honestly kind of warms my heart up because you can make that boat look brand new again and get it to back to the owner. And when their wife and kids hop on the boat, they get to look at the boat and say, Dad, this boat's insanely nice. They can go out, have a good time at the sandbar without having to worry about the boat not looking good or anything like that. It just kind of makes me happy, honestly.
I've only detailed one boat.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that, because when I turned around and looked at that boat, I was thank God that's over. I'm never doing it again.
That's a whole different beast, right? And so I think, why detailing though? I mean, you obviously, kids have a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah.
And, you've been doing it because what year of high school are you finishing up right now? Sophomore year?
I'm still a freshman, but I'm on a 3-year program to graduate early.
Why is that not shocking? Why does that not surprise me? And so, why stick with detailing? What?
Well, my dad started his business when he was young like me, but he was in landscaping. I worked for him for a little bit. I like landscaping, but it wasn't really like my thing, I guess. Like I wasn't the best at it. I didn't really like it that much. I still worked for him there, but detailing, I'm just pretty good at it, I guess. So when he had a buffer in my hand, I said, like, can I work with Ishmael, which is one of our finishing guys at the shop, which he buffs like whole sides, where the engines go and everything like that. And I was working with him. I learned a lot. I'm like, dang, if I can make a boat look like that to that, like, why don't I just do it? I like it a lot. It's fun to me. So why not just make some money off of it and do something I actually like to do? That's
cool. So your customers, let's talk about people that, you're probably getting to the point now that where you don't know every single customer you're detailing with. Mm-hmm. What's the reactions when they see your age? What's some of the reports you hear?
So most of them, when I'm texting them on like Facebook or whatever, when I go to meet them in person, they're like, I thought you were like in your 20s or something. I wasn't expecting a 15-year-old to pull up to my house with a bike and trailer. I'm like, yeah, but I can make it look like, I can make your boat or car look amazing. So I'm just like, give me a chance. Like, I'll show you, I'll prove you. And I do it, and I get them on a schedule like every 2 weeks or something. And they're just like fabric. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't think a 15-year-old could do this after school, honestly.
How cool is that, man? That just warms my heart to hear that. And then you made a video that shows your bike. That again, that really won me over. So you mentioned it right now. So what's the reaction when people come out and they see you, triking around on a bike? What's some of the things you hear?
Some people are like, why don't you have a car? I'm like, I'm only 15, man. I can't have a car. So that's one of them. And other people think it's absolutely awesome how I come right after school, get off of school at 2, get at the house at like 2:15, hop on the bike, roll up to their house, get there around 2:30, 2:45. Then they're like, this is insane. Like, I was like, you got here quick. And I make sure like the trailer's really organized, me and Malachi. We make sure it's like all the weights distributed evenly and all that, because we don't want to roll the trailer rolling down the road. But a lot of people think it's actually really cool, which I wasn't expecting.
How old is Malachi?
He's 17.
Oh, right on. Cool. So who and what influences you? So let's talk about the people that influence you. And naturally, we heard about your parents. Mm-hmm. And then what influences you? I mean, are you doing this because you just love it? Are you enjoying the money? Tell me kind of what's going on.
I'm doing it mostly because I actually like it. Like, a lot of kids right now want to chase like the bread, chase the money, and go do that. But I don't think that satisfies you at the end of the day. Like, I wouldn't want to wake up in the morning and say, dang, I hate what I'm doing, but I'm getting paid good. I'd rather get paid dirt money for something I love, honestly.
Well, you've got a couple of the biggest traits, right, that lead to success. The first one is a passion for it. And then, the other is like a dedication and drive for it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's cool, right? The other stuff, the education and the training, the hours of practice and experience, that's all going to come right after that. But the passion and the dedication is what's key. So,
Arthur, you hit on something. We're going through this disc analysis, right? Where we're really you're looking deep at you. It asks a bunch of questions, and it kind of nails your personality and your traits. And I've been going back and looking at my own career, and I remember you just hit on a nerve. I remember, I left detailing, right, on to bigger and better things. Is going to be a multimillionaire, and that process slowed down. I made some money when I was, still a teenager, and sold my first company, and then I realized it's going to be a little harder to achieve that millionaire status.
Yeah.
Than what I thought. But what I did is I started going into different things, and I liked what I was doing, but I didn't love what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when I got back into detailing, I remember for a short while feeling I'd step back. My friends, my family were kind of judging me that, I wasn't making the money. I was back blue collar. I was back working with my hands. I was really, we were suffering. I mean, it was not easy, taking that step back. But you said something that you'd rather, work for dirt than get up and do something that you just don't like. And at times detailing, even though I loved it, there were times it was so challenging, I was ready to quit.
I've had that about 4 or 5 times.
Right.
It gets really stressful.
It does. And then I just kept remembering, hey, man, remember how badly I wanted to make this work when I started it, because I didn't like not being around cars. You know, I love being around cars. I love being around airplanes. In your case, you love being around boats, right? I just loved it. And so I just kept building it. And slowly but surely that empire started to form. It started with a foundation. And those foundation times, you know, that first 3-4 years was when I was really contemplating, man, is this going to work? You know, 'cause everybody around me was questioning me. Really, what went on is I started listening to the people, not me. As others were questioning me, which got into my ear, into my mind, and into my heart. And I wish I just would have shut that noise down, you know? And because at your age, this might just be one corner brick in a foundation that's a multi-level empire that you're building at this age. You know, you don't know where this is going to go. And it's so cool to do it. So since you started, let's go back. So influences. Let's talk about what really motivates person-wise. Is you mentioned your parents is Malachi. Does your brother, your older brother? I mean, do you guys talk business? Do you guys talk shop together?
Can you repeat that? My computer lagged out.
Malachi and you. Do you guys dream together? Do you guys like? It's so. Are you guys like-minded in the fact that, you know, you want these businesses, you want to build stuff? So tell me what when it comes to business, what influences you?
Probably just what influenced me is probably just like honestly just like it, and also being with my brother, just like cleaning cars. It's honestly fun. Like also, it's just fun hanging out with them. We have fun doing it. We're making memories together that we'll never forget. Like I'm excited to one day tell my family like, hey yo, me and Malachi are running around on a bike in a trailer making money to help y'all. And all this other stuff. Like we're just making memories and I'm having fun. I'm loving life. So
what a great outlook, man. A lot of people don't look at even people, you know, my age, they just don't look at the memory factor, you know, and what it's going to, you know, all of us got an expiration date, you know, in this world. None of us are going to live forever. And building those memories, that's wisdom beyond your years, young man, you know, big time wisdom. Since you started, what's one of the, so you said there's been times you wanted to quit. What's some of the lessons that you've learned? You know, is obviously you didn't quit. You wanted to a couple times, right? But you kept going. So what's some lessons that you've learned that you could share with other people?
Honestly, also you really got to love what you're doing. That's like a big thing for me. And also you got to step out your comfort zone, man. Like you can't just sit in that little like comfy little like ball, I guess you want to say, and just sit there and expect everything to work your way. Like you just gotta hop out that comfort zone and like do things you're not gonna be like happy with, but at the end you'll be happy. But you just gotta hop out that comfort zone, and also just, I guess, just having the drive. Just a lot of drive in there. So
I would agree. I said, you know, you just hit it, because you know the thing that you've got going for you is passion. Because if you don't like what you're doing, when those hard days come up that you want to quit, you're going to quit.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't really love what you're doing, you know, and I love it goes back to your first answer. If you're going to get your dream car, the two answers: one, gets your boat and stuff and helps you detail, and the other one's an F40, which usually shows that you know your cars. So the passion's there, right? So when you look at the future and you Malachi are out working and it's just Arthur, it's just Malachi, and you're kind of working on a boat, when you guys start talking about your dreams, what are some of those dreams? What do you guys kind of foresee in the future for you guys?
My dream is just to have honestly, just have a strong family, like make sure like my kids never have to go through any hard times or anything like that, and just build like a strong family, and just like make sure like all my family never have to worry about money or anything like that ever again, and things like that. And also, like another thing about the last question, another big thing is just like you got to put like your 100 into everything. Like if you're not putting your 100% in everything, like you can't expect to make it. Like I'd rather have one car a week and make it 100% than have 20 cars a week and make them all 25%.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
I agree. I agree with that. I love your answer about the family, I know that this isn't the case for everybody. Renny is an example of not having, not having everything when he was younger and going through hardships. I was lucky enough to where my family, was able to provide pretty much everything I needed when I was younger. And I do take a lot of comfort in the fact that I'm doing the same for my kids. It makes me feel good. And that's a big part of why I do everything I do.
Yeah.
No, and it's not the case. I think that, if when you're young like you and you can grow up in a stable environment, a lot of times the stability will be passed along. And it was one of the, being forthcoming it was one of the biggest struggles I had because of having such a, there was a couple big splashes in my well, even before I was born, right? Before I was born, there was a big splash. And that ripple effect, the ripples coming from that splash, the splash was long gone, but the ripples kept going, Yeah. And then splash 2 and then splash 3, so they kept having ripples. And that, I'll tell you, it took well into, probably those ripples will never stop in my entire life, unfortunately. You can control the ripples or the effect of them. It's just like, you're out with your dad, is that he's piloting the boat. There's rough water. He knows where to go on that rough water and not to go. And so, I love your answers that you're going to look for smooth waters and try to keep it like that. That's brilliant. And again, wisdom beyond, so I'm sure I don't have to say this. I'm sure your parents are really proud of you, both of you. Now, do you have other brothers and sisters other than Malachi?
I have 2 sisters. One's younger, one's older than me.
Yeah, they're an interesting breed, right? Sisters.
Yeah.
Talking with you, I got 3 daughters and 1 son. Watching. Our poor son doesn't know what hit him. And so lastly, and this is going to be the last question, and we're going to talk about our takeaways. What's your friends say about your business? Do your friends make comments about what you do and taking off after, they're out screwing around and playing video games, right? And I'm sure you're still a kid. You do kid stuff, teen stuff. But what's your friends, reactions?
Some of them are have a family business as well. Like one of them has their family owns a rental company and he cleans the rentals, they're slingshots or something. And so when he finds a nice product, he's like, Arthur, you got to try this. Arthur, I got a new pressure washer. You got to check this one out. He helps me a lot. And he's a great friend. I'm really thankful that God's put him in my life. And some people, honestly, at school made fun of me. They were like, Arthur, and some teachers, honestly, said, Arthur, without this exam, without these test scores, you'll be nobody in life. You're not going to make it. You'll be under a bridge and stuff like that. And some kids were telling me that you're stupid. Why don't you just stick with your dad and just stay at home? Your parents have enough money where you can stay at home and they can support you, just stuff like that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you tell those teachers that you got a plan and a vision.
Mm-hmm.
I had a teacher tell me I was a special ed kid. So I had some learning disabilities. I had ADD and they didn't know what it was. Yeah. And I actually had a counselor tell my grandma when I was in 5th grade that I was partially, and you can't use this term, but I'll use it because it was aimed towards me, that I was partially retarded. Yeah. And to some degree, she's probably right, because I think that's carried on in my long life. But I went back when I wrote my book and handed her a book. She was still a counselor. Wow. And I said, remember that kid you told that would never amount to anything? I'd be lucky to even be in a factory job and be able to have the mentality. Well, I've written a book, and I'm worth a couple $1,000,000. So, enjoy your day.
Yeah.
So
I think you already know this, but keep surrounding yourself like people like your friend. And just distance yourselves from the other ones. The more like-minded people you can surround yourself with, the better.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm making notes and off of what Chris just said, birds of a feather, we've heard that, right? Mm-hmm. Is that you become who you surround yourself with. And I didn't drop my friends, from my youth. I just couldn't drink from the same water bottle they were drinking from, is that we had 2 different outlooks, and I still care about them, still have my entire life. I grew up in a tough area, and they said that one of my friends that I lost, it's called Colton. We're very proud, hardworking, but tough community, you know. And he told me I lost my Colton, and I said, no, I just got out of it. You know, there's a difference. And so, you know, I want to go back on a couple things. Is passion. Is you nailed that, and I think you said it. And anybody that's listening to this, I want you to take. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, or 80, 90. I don't care. Is I want to take and have you go back on what this young man, he's tainted. Okay. He life has been what it has been, but he's seen things very raw. And I want you all to take a look at this. Passion. You've got to give your 100. Absolutely. That's the takeaway for me. Family. Okay. God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mentioned that. Your friends, who you're surrounding yourself with, is that I think this is probably one of the most important. This is podcast 130 for us. It's top 5 for importance, because you have a young person nailing the center of the universe for our life and our businesses. No more, no less. And I'm a little emotional because I had your heart when I was your age. Do not let that heart get soured.
Sorry.
Because I did, you know, I let my heart get a little sour, and it's been a hard comeback, you know, is do not let anybody get into your ear. Stay this wholesome, hardworking, keep God, family, and those good friends at the center of everything. Any going away thoughts, you know, a message that you'd like to give to people? I'd like to take and hear, you know, so many times, do you ever feel that the young people kind of get beat up on a little bit these days?
Yes, sir. Especially in like a business standpoint. Like a lot of people tell me, you're 15, why are you charging this much money for a boat detail and things like that. It doesn't really matter about your age. It matters about your experience and where your mind is most of the time. But most people, I guess, I've had to cancel several jobs because people of my age. And I'm honestly just like, all right, go hire the other guy, honestly, who's only had 1 year of experience and just older than me. That's it. That's all he has on me.
Okay. There's a lot of people that have been doing this for 30 years that are doing it like a rookie. And there's a lot of rookies like you that are doing it better than the people who've been doing it 30 years. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't agree more. So, hey, do you on your business, do you have any social media that people can follow you on?
I have Facebook and Instagram.
I don't want you to give out your personal stuff because you're a minor, but if you've got a business side of it, I'd love to have you share that. Go ahead and share. How do people follow you?
On Instagram, which is tagged down below, at A&M Detailing 904. Then Facebook, just search up A&M Detailing. It should be our logo, which says A&M Detailing and a boat behind it. It looks like my dad's logo. And then YouTube also, A&M Detailing. So just that's what I really focus to right now. Nothing really else, but Facebook brings in the most business, and YouTube I usually like film videos of like boat detailings and stuff and send it to people. So when they ask, what do I get in this boat detail, I'll just send that to them so I don't have to write an essay to them about what I'm going to do.
Right on. So what's the future? You're going to go to college?
Yes, sir.
Are you? Right on. What are you going to major in?
Mechanical engineering.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yes, sir. Do you have a school in mind already?
University of Florida.
There you go. And what's your end goal at that? So mechanical engineering. So what do you hope to do when you come out of college?
Build boats with my dad.
There you go. There you go. Good answer, man. Good answer.
What kind of tell us a little bit about the kind of boats he builds. Let's
talk about your company a little bit too.
So we have a 26, 33, 36, 37 catamaran, 39, 47. Then our Volano side, it's a 65 and I believe a 72.
Holy crud.
But the center consoles, they're center console and the big boats are like sport fishes, like the big, crazy looking kind of yacht sport fishing looking boats.
That's pretty cool. How can people find your dad's company on social media?
Instagram at Front Runner Boats, Facebook Front Runner Boats, YouTube Front Runner Boats.
I love that name, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen.
There it is.
It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you next year down in Florida.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? I'm going to give credit to you. So I think you've had good parenting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got a great mind.
Thank you, sir.
You've got a bright future. And you know what? Mom and dad did a great job, but you know what? You're doing a good job on your own of being so respectful. You keep that up. And, you know, it's stay in contact with us.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's everybody that's listening again. I hope this podcast is taken and allowed you to get some passion of your own, some youthful passion. As Arthur just offered up some very youthful wisdom. And sometimes it's really good for us, especially as we age, to get some infusion from youth. Don't look at youth as a takeaway. Look at youth as instilling something new, some fresh air into old lungs. And I really appreciate you. I appreciate you for the moment we met. Stay in contact with us, and boy, I can't wait to watch the ride. You keep us going, man. When you do something cool, so we know what you're doing. And I want to see that 50 when you get it. Okay, so it better be. And you know what? I'm going to say this in advance. I want to see the F40 when you get it too, because I have a feeling
yes, sir.
Garage.
Yes, sir.
I bet you $1 million it'll be red.
Yeah, I'll bet you $2 million it will be. Hey, it's the Renny Doyle Podcast. Make sure that you take and make a comment, share. We love to hear your comments, especially on this topic. You know, let us know how he kind of brought some fresh air into your lungs. No matter if you're his age or if you're 50 years older. In my case, let us know what you're thinking and how he affected you, because I'd love to share that with him also if you get it. So make sure to share, like, and make suggestions of what you want to hear next. And Arthur, you take care of yourself. Go get busy. Go make some money.
Yes, sir. I will. Hey, and also I'm coming for a PNS sponsorship. Yes, sir.
There you go. Next. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. All right, guys. Hey, you take care, Arthur. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Take care.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.